For this particular project, you're going to need 3 fat eighths of fabric. A fat eighth is a fat quarter cut in half. The measurement will be approximately 9 by 21 or 22 inches. You'll need some coordinating cotton ribbon. You'll need something to pin your fabric together with and something to cut with. The first thing I did after cutting all of my fabric into fat eighths is grab one of the pieces of fabric that'll be on the inside. I folded it in half and then I did a straight stitch all the way across on the fold. That's about 1/2 inch of a seam allowance that I put there. Next, I'm lining it up and I'm going to make some markings about 1 inch apart on each marking. And then I make sure that the markings closest to the edges have an extra 1/2 inch if possible. We want to add that extra 1/2 inch on the edges if possible so that there's room for a pencil to fit. Once we put the final stitching on the sides, that will interfere with that 1 inch measurement. Now I've reattached those pieces together, lined them up nicely, and I'm going to straight stitch on each of those white lines that I drew, making sure that I backstitch on the edge that has the fold. I do need to also mention that I'm only sewing through 2 layers of fabric right now, which are going to be the 2 inside layers, not the outside that'll be shown on the outside of the wrap, which is in my case this design fabric with the beetles on it. I don't like my lines to go all the way through all layers, but that's really a personal preference. Next, we're going to clip off all of these loose threads. I've done this project before where I decided not to clip the thread between each stitch and just kind of kept a running stitch, and it was a lot more difficult to clip all of the threads off after, but that is an option if you don't mind that. Next, we're going to put all of our fabric pieces together. Since I'm doing a quick serger method, I'm going to have everything assembled just the way the finished product will be. But if you're using a regular sewing machine and you're planning on turning and top stitching, you'll want to make sure that you put right sides together. Since I'm not going to be putting right sides together and I'm working on the finished product right now, I'm drawing out my lines to square things up a bit so I can run it through the serger. I don't have my rotary cutter, so I wasn't able to cut things out nice and straight first. However, these lines are giving me a guide to just get a really nice clean cut on the serger. Now that all 4 sides are sewn, I'm just going to pull my serger threads taut and clip them. I really should have ironed this fabric first, but I had a baby in my arms, and for the sake of recording this quick video, it was a step that I regrettably skipped. I remembered some woven old vintage ribbon that my mom gave me that I had laying around, and it matched with the color scheme of this well. It's kind of a funky Scandinavian flower, so I decided to pull that out. The edges on this, because it's not synthetic, I couldn't burn and they do fray, so I went and serged the raw ends, and then I folded it over and did a straight stitch, and then after that I went ahead and attached it to the roll-up pouch. Now the pouch is all done. I did go ahead and trim those down just a little bit more because the ribbon was a little longer than what I wanted. And now you'll go ahead and see the finished product.